Oh boy, why do people stay in bad relationships? Five top reasons, the top five, why they stay in bad relationships. Let's go. Now, look, if you're in a, God forbid, dangerous relationship where your life literally is in danger, you got to get out, call the police. But more often than not, that's not the situation. So, number five, people stay married or in a bad relationship because of money. Now, not greed, like, oh, I want $1 billion, but money in the sense of, hey, most Americans in bad relationships, they're just scraping by. They're making 50,000 a year, or 60,000 a year, or 70,000 a year, or even 100,000 a year, and it's just not. It's tough. You kind of need each other financially, and in a way that's bad. You don't want to be in a relationship for that reason only, and often that's the top five reason people stay in relationships: money. Number four, religion. I know a lot of people that would love to divorce their husband or wife or break up, particularly marriage and religion. I made a vow to my particular God. I don't want my particular God to get upset, because if my God starts to get upset, then I get punished, and we don't want that. So people stay married because of that. Sad, but yeah, that's a big one. Millions and millions of Americans are just like, I made a vow, and that's it. I don't want to be. And you may say, well, they should go to counseling and work on it. Still, if it's not working, they're afraid of their God, raining down holy hell on them. So that's number four. Number three, the kiddie poos. Now, this is another tough one. I think if you are not in danger, but things aren't that great, I think it's good if it's not a toxic environment. I think it's good for parents to stay married for the kids. As long as there's no verbal abuse, physical abuse, okay, you're not talking to each other here and there, but I think there's value in having two parents staying together for the young children. Now, the kids, the quote unquote kids, are off to college. All of them are gone. They're off to college or on their own. And you're still things aren't working out. And you've been to counseling a bazillion times. You just get divorced. But anyways, what was that? Number four? No, number three. Right? So we got money. We got religion. We got the kids. Number two. The number two reason why people would stay married, when they really shouldn't, I would say, is probably family, social norms. Oh my God, my mother and father would kill me, or I would be the only one getting divorced in my friend circle or my family, and so there's a lot there, and I've been there, get that, but that's why people would stay married. I would say the number one reason. This one might seem simple, but it's a big one. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter the kids, the religion. You could be a trillionaire. So many people stay married, even in abusive relationships. They stay married or in an abusive relationship because loneliness. They do not want to be alone. They don't want to come home to an empty house. They don't want to come home to an empty mansion. And you may say, hey, just get, hire men and women to hang out with you, the maid, the bar. That's not how it works. So loneliness. People stay in relationships that are bad because they're afraid to be alone. It's the devil they know. And they'd rather be with the devil they know than the unknown. It's human nature to avoid the unknown and loneliness at all costs. So many people. Now, I get it. Someone, they got divorced, they're living alone, and they're doing their life. They're great. Most people, again, on a macro scale, talking hundreds of millions of Americans, most people will rather, stay with a bad relationship. Or you'll have people that will have a side relationship first, essentially cheat, and then once that side relationship is going well, then divorce. But again, you see, they don't want to be alone. So people will move mountains not to be alone. There's so many people you read in the news, and I know people who have a lot of money, and they just stay married because they're afraid to be alone. And things aren't like life and death dangerous. The husband or the wife has their life, and then the other spouse has their life, and better than being alone. So there's something powerful about having a witness to your life, having somebody in that house that is there. When you're living by yourself, okay, you could say, I would love to be by myself. Yeah, that gets old pretty quick. After about 2 weeks, it starts to wear on you, and you being lonely will break the toughest of man. Being lonely will break the toughest of women. And so, think about it. In jails, what's the ultimate punishment? Solitary confinement, alone. That's how they break you. So, you can have $1 billion, but if you have anybody, you coming home alone, it's powerful in a negative way. So that's the number one reason why people stay in bad relationships is they're afraid to be alone. Even though they have friends and family, that intimacy or having that person in the house, just that they're there, and you're not by yourself at night in the big mansion or the apartment or the studio or the tent or whatever. So loneliness is the biggest reason why people stay married when they should be breaking up, or people stay in a bad relationship. Okay, what are your top 5? What do you think? Back to you.